16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Wow, excellent job, my girls. You've done a great job today. Excellent. Thank you. The girls who opened the camera, thank you, Juri, Amal, Tala, and who else? Jana? Who opened the camera?
Miss, I don't have a camera.
Okay, no problem. For the girls who opened the camera and for the girls who participated, thank you so much.
I did this, but I didn't open the camera because I can't.
No problem, no problem. The thing that is important is I want you all to participate and to work out because this is refresh us before we start the lesson. Okay, let's start. Our lesson for today, my girls, is about comprehension, and we are going to have draw a conclusion. Listen. What does it mean, draw a conclusion? It means that when you have a story, like for example, now we have the story of Westlandia. Okay, as we read, we have to keep asking ourselves, what is this story is about? What is going on with this boy? Why, for example, he make his own city? Why he doesn't fit in the school? Why? When you have these questions in your mind while you read, then this lets you focus more on the events and what's going on in the story. At the end, you will draw your own conclusion. What does it mean, draw your own conclusion? Which means that you will come up with your own ideas about the story or your own decision about the story. You will come up with this idea. You will say to yourself, yeah, maybe it doesn't matter to fit in one place. Maybe the thing that matters to accept yourself and to love yourself just for the way you are. Maybe. Okay. Or maybe something else. I came up with this idea like sometimes being alone makes you a creative person because you think about yourself, why I'm here, what should I do, what is my talents, and then you try to discover it and you try to grow it. So there's a lot of conclusion that we can come up at the end of each story we read in this life. Why? Because there's no fun if you read a story without thinking about it. We don't want to read stories just for the sake of reading. No, we want to read, we want to understand, we want to expand our knowledge about life itself because each story has its own events, has its own cultures, has its own information that can add to me and add to my knowledge and to my information. Okay, let's go ahead right now and watch this video before to know what does it mean draw conclusion and how can I draw a conclusion in any story. Let's go for this video right here.
Draw conclusions. It's quite a storm out there. If you use what you already know about storms and the facts you see in this scene, you can draw a conclusion about what happened here tonight. Look at the details.
Now, before we complete the video, now there's a storm outside. She wants you to draw a conclusion. What will happen because of the storm? What will happen in this story because of the storm? Before you complete the story, you will read, as you read or as you watch the video, just pay attention for the details. What's going on? The man has a flashlight and they don't have a light in the house. What is going on? There's a thunder outside. Then maybe you can draw your own conclusion when we end.
A conclusion is a decision you make after thinking about the details. Can you make a reasonable judgment about what happened in this scene?
So now, let me ask you, what do you think that happened in that storm? What is the conclusion that you came out with after you see these pictures? You see here a candle, flashlight, there's a thunder outside, there's a storm.
I know.
So what's probably going on with this family?
There's no electricity and there's no light or anything.
Okay, because of what?
The storm.
Because of the storm and because of the thunder and the lights. Then the lights were what? The lightning outside and the thunder outside, maybe it hit the electricity and now they don't have electricity anymore. They are surviving the candles and the flashlights. This is a conclusion you came out with without reading a real story, right? How you did that? Just paying attention for the candle and for the flashlights and seeing the storm outside. I came out with my own judgment.
Combining your prior knowledge about storms and
also, we know when you draw a conclusion, my girls, we don't only use the details in the story. No, sometimes I could try to combine it with my prior knowledge. which means that all of us, maybe in your life, you saw before a storm, right? Maybe you saw a storm, maybe you saw a lightning
Yeah.
storm, a raining storm, maybe. So you know how the situation would be. It would be very frightening. The sound outside it would be very loud. The thunder would be so much. The lightning would be so much. Most of the time, most of the countries, they got some electricity cutting. Then they don't have electricity and they have to survive on candles, flashlights, and they can't go outside because they are frightened of the thunder. Maybe it will help hit them or something. So you know the prior language, prior knowledge about the storms. Now, when you read or when you see the video, try to link it with the details that you see, and then you come up with your own conclusion or decision.
In the fact that we're holding a candle and a flashlight, you can draw the conclusion that the storm caused a power outage or knocked our electricity out. All the details support your conclusion and it makes sense. Good work.
Okay. This is about the conclusion. Right now, I want you to go to your reading books, my girls, and open the page 22. Reading books.
Okay.
Okay, we have now draw a conclusion. A conclusion is a decision you make after thinking about the details of what you read. Your own prior knowledge can help you draw a conclusion. When you draw a conclusion, be sure it makes sense and is supported by what you have read. Use
Page what?
22.
Thank
Okay, use the text and the graphic organizer to help you draw a conclusion about Jeff. Now, right here, when you read anything, just try to think about the details that you have in the passage and link it with your prior knowledge, and then you will find your conclusion at the end. Okay, let's read this story, and then after that, we will know what happened to this boy and make our own conclusion about the story.
The go-kart. The summer had been downright boring. Nothing extraordinary had occurred. Then Jeff read an ad in the local newspaper. Go-kart race next month. Win $1,000. He decided that he had to enter the race.
Okay, now before we complete, this boy, he was spending the summer with his parents and it was quite boring. Nothing happened. He just stayed in the home the whole time and there's nothing fun to do. And then he found a newspaper and he saw in that newspaper that there is a go-kart race. This is a go-kart race. It's a kind of cart that you build it in your house and it has wheels like this. It's very fast and mostly they use it in racing between children. And he saw in the newspaper that go-kart race next month and win $1,000. He decided that he had to enter that race. So now I want to ask you this question. Draw a conclusion about why do you think that Jeff wants to participate in this race? Okay? Keep this question in your mind. Try to read the whole thing, and then I will come back to ask you about it.
But Jeff, you don't own a go-kart, his father said. The newspaper noted that the go-kart had to be homemade. Jeff had been saving his allowance, and he had enough money for the plans and parts for the go-kart. But Jeff, you've never built anything, his mother said. Jeff set about his building task. He read the instructions that came with the go-kart kit carefully. If something was confusing or hard to understand, he called the hardware store and asked a clerk to explain. Every day he toiled on his go-kart, and every night it was that much closer to being finished. Finally, the day of the race arrived. Jeff put on his helmet and revved his engine. The announcer roared, "On your mark, get set, go!" And Jeff, who had never raced a go-kart before, was off.
Now, I want you also right here at the end, I want you to draw a conclusion about how do you think that Jeff felt when he revved his engine, when he started his engine and started the race. How do you think he felt at that time? Okay,
I know.
the first question now, why do you think that Jeff wanted to participate in that race?
Miss, I know.
Why?
I know.
Draw a conclusion.
I know.
Okay,
I will
Okay.
raise my hand in the chat.
because what?
I will raise my hand.
Fairuz, okay, talk.
Oh. Okay. He wanted to like go in it because like he wanted to be a hero.
He wanted to be a hero. Okay, but
He
did you
wanted to be famous
he wanted to be
or
famous?
money.
What do you choose? What is your answer?
Both.
Hmm.
Um.
Remember, Fairuz, I want you to draw a conclusion, which means that to take some of the details in the story with your knowledge and give me
Okay.
the decision that you came with, huh? Why he wanted to participate in that race?
Because he wanted to win. He wanted to win 1,000.
Yes, maybe he wanted to win the
Yeah.
$1,000.
And
This is,
also
and
Yes,
also,
I know, I know.
let's see, girls, let
he
her
wants
complete,
to
please.
build.
Don't
He
interrupt.
wants to build.
He wants what?
Like I don't know.
Okay, he wants to win the race. He wants to win the $1,000 that is mentioned in the newspaper. This is correct. This is one thing. Huh? Other thing.
Next, I know.
Judy.
Mario get me.
Huh, Judy.
Because he was bored in the summer, so he wanted to do
Excellent. So this is another reason right here at the beginning. He said the summer had been downright boring because he didn't do anything during the summer and it was really boring for him. So he wanted to do something exciting. When he found this newspaper ad, he found that, oh, this is an opportunity to do something very fun for this summer. So he decided that I have to participate. So first reason he participated because he wanted to have something exciting, and the other reason because of the money. Okay, this is the conclusion that we had at the beginning. At the end, we said that he revved his engine and he took off. How do you think he felt at that time?
I know, Feroz,
He
please.
felt
He felt
proud.
nervous.
Bro, huh, Maria?
Nerv-
He felt like proud because like he finally um rode his go-kart that he made.
Excellent, Maria. Excellent answer. Amazing. She said he felt proud, probably. Why? Because he is the one that built that go kart. Remember that when we said in the story that he didn't aslan own a go kart, so he used his allowance to buy this go kart. This is one thing. Another thing, he didn't know how to build it. It was his first time ever to build his own go kart, so he did it by himself. And whenever he didn't know how to do it, he go to the shop to ask about it. So he did every single detail of that go-kart. So probably when he revved the engine, he felt so proud to ride this go-kart. Why? Because he is the one that did it from the scratch. This is one thing. Maybe proud. Another feeling maybe he felt. What do you think? Excited. Why, Jana?
Because like it's his first time to ride a go-kart and like he just want to race and he's like felt so excited and
Excellent.
for like sitting in his first go-kart.
Excellent, excellent, ya Jana. Excellent answer. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Today,
I know.
all paying
Yes,
attention.
I
That's
know.
great.
Miss,
But
I know, Feroz.
why he felt excited? Because first, it was his first time to do that race. Another thing, it was quite boring in the house. So he felt so excited to do that race. So he felt excited and he felt proud. Okay, my girls. Now go to the next.
Miss, and he was feeling nervous at the same time
Nervous, yes. Why? Why do you think?
because it's his first time,
Mhm,
his first time
mhm.
building the golf cart,
Yes.
and he never built something like that. He was happy and excited and nervous at the same time.
Nervous. Yes, he was nervous because it's the first time for him also to drive this car. Maybe he felt nervous and nervous because something else. There is a prize for it. So he was nervous because would I win or not win? Would I lose? Would I win? What will happen? So all of these things will give him rush of emotions of happiness and nervousness, and he will give him also excitedness. All of these things he felt and proudness also. Okay, my girls. Right now we are going to the next book, notebook, and let's
Readers
go.
and Writers Notebook, page 247.
Thank you, ya Amal. 247. That's correct. So go for the page. Let me write it for you. 247 in the notebook. Okay, draw a conclusion. Now we have a little passage right here. It has a lot of information. So as I read, I want you to pay attention with each detail because when we finish, we have to draw our own conclusion about this story. But we are going to use some of the details that mentioned inside that story and link it with our own knowledge. Let's go ahead and I'll read it for you, okay? Several factors led to the formation of cities. First, small agricultural groups grew larger when farmers and hunters were able to provide a steady supply of food for more people. Also, settlers started keeping herds of animals for food and other purposes. Because of these developments, there was enough food for everyone. So, settlers had time to learn new skills. They started making better tools and finding new uses for them. Better tools led to improvements in living conditions. Workers built structures to protect the community and to store food. They traded with other groups for items they needed. As more people lived together, members of the community started having different responsibilities and social relationships changed. Eventually, these communities developed a system to govern themselves. They also created a written language. So here is some information about how the cities started in the first place in many places around the world. The first thing they have is what is the small group of people who has agricultural skills, which means to plant some plants or crops. It will attract more people to come. Why? Because they will have a plenty of supplies of food. So the food always attract people to gather. So those people, the cities started how? With a little group of people. They are just having skill of planting food. And then when other people saw there's a plenty of food in there, then other people came and other people invited other people. Then the new people who settled down, they what? They started to have their animals to eat in that area because they have a lot of food, a lot of agriculture, a lot of things around them, a lot of crops. So animals grow on the food also. Now we have people and we have animals, and they have a lot of food. What will happen? Then the people will have a plenty of time to think about how to develop that place, how to build better house. Then they learn more skills. These skills, and each time they have a new skill, they will try to invent with it some new tools to help them to facilitate their life, yani to make their life easier. The more tools they have, the more their life become easier. Like imagine before 500 years ago, people didn't have cars, right? But they have cities, they have horses to ride, they have camels to ride, but they didn't have any airplanes, they didn't have any cars. So when the people have plenty of food, plenty of money, but they needed to cut more, to go through more distance, and the horses are not that fast. So they tried to think about other tools. These tools become what? As a car. When they tried to use the car right now, they wanted to have even more distance and to go from country to country. And now the need of having something to fly appeared. So they thought about what? Airplanes. So the more food you have, the more people you have around, the more skills and tools you are searching for. And then when they have the skills and the tools to use it, then their condition become better. And that now the community become bigger and bigger. And now each one of the community have his own responsibility in the community. When they have many people in the community, now there's a lot of relationships, there's a lot of people around you, then you have to have a system to govern those people and to what? To rule those people. Then they have government and they have someone to rule them to make all their life easy so they can have their own responsibilities for every person alone. They also created a written language. After all of this, then they have a city, they have a people, they have a government. Now they what? They try to write their language. Why? Because without writing your language and without having a written language of your own, then your culture will be gone after you die. Why? because there is nothing written for you, the other generations, to understand what happened to you. Okay, so we need to write the language down for the other generations when they come after us to read and to understand life better. So let's draw our conclusion about this story. What do you think this story is about? Huh? Let's have the main idea about it, huh? What is the story is about? It's about what? Hmm? The main idea about the story is about what? Any ideas?
Factors of cities.
Yes, how the formation of the cities, how the cities created. Okay, this is the main idea, how the cities are created. طيب, now I want to draw a conclusion how the cities are created. Okay, طيب, how can I use this passage to give me details about how the cities are created? Hmm? Give me some hints and some details. How can I create a city? From the passage, girls, come on.
More people
More people, they will come. Why?
because of the food.
Of the food. Okay, so I can write, for example, type the first type of food I have, it was because of what? Hmm? Now I have food, I have people to come to that area. طب, from where I have this food?
From animals.
From animals, from farmers, from hunters. So we have the first detail, farmers and hunters provided food for more people. This is the first step how I make a city. And hunters Okay, then number two, huh? We have a lot of food from farmers and hunters, and people came. What next? When you have a lot of food, what you will learn?
More tools and more stuff to make.
Excellent. We will learn more skills. So, settlers.
And there would be a government, and there would be like they're going to do a language for themselves and write their language so that the other generations would know this language.
Excellent. So, settlers will learn more skills and have new tools.
And language.
Excellent. This is step number two. Let's make it smaller. Okay, and number three, they build their own government. And then, what do you know from your prior language? Good tools make tough jobs easier. Good tools make jobs for people. And make their lives easier. Okay. Okay, what is the conclusion that we came up with? What is the conclusion that we have after all of this information?
The communities developed a
Hi, Aman. That's great. Complete.
to to govern themselves, they also created a written language.
Okay, you give me the last. You gave me the last sentence of the passage. No, I want your conclusion. I give you some information about farmers, hunters, and they have food.
That they
They have more
created
people.
their own
Right.
language.
And then I told you that there's a government, there's a language. What is all of this information about? Huh?
It's
I'm telling you
government.
information about what? Hmm?
I know
Yes,
You
Tara.
say
about how we
I
start a country.
Yes, excellent. How we start a city, how we form a city. So our conclusion that I have all of this information to tell me how I can form a city. Excellent. So more food with the conclusion that I come with that what attract people is the food and the jobs and the tools. So more food and jobs attract people to form cities. This is the conclusion that if I want to have a city, then I have to have food, jobs, tools, and then the people will come, then I will have a city. This is the conclusion I came with. Okay? So this is how I draw a conclusion. Now in the next lesson, in the next period, inshallah, we are going to complete Westlandia. After I finish the story of Westlandia, I will ask you what is the conclusion that you have about that story. So please pay attention for the story and make um, make your own decision about the story. Did you finish, my girls?
yes,
All of you?
yes.
Okay. خلاص 5 minutes break and then we'll come back to complete with Nadia.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Bye.